What up, guys? Welcome back to another great episode of Redirekt. This is the podcast where we redirect purpose through fresh conversations and ideas and perspectives. You know me, I'm always here, your boy, the host with the most. I'm messing up already. KARION, that's what I'm going to leave for today. With us, we got Raven.
Hey, y'all, what's up?
And
Raven
also,
Jackson again.
And also, we got DEVON with us.
Yep, I'm back. I don't have a name, but I'm going to be the mindful historian because that's what I was last time.
And before we get started, we got a few quick announcements. I want to shout out the boys over at Worst in the Internet podcast. Bet on CD, Call Me Maul, and Dub the Goat. I just want to say y'all disappointed me this week, man. Y'all didn't drop an episode every Tuesday at work. I be ready for your episode. Y'all let me down. You got on me last time, Corey. I'm getting on you. Don't let it happen again.
Dope podcast, y'all.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off like that. I also want to shout out at Tyler Goddess on Instagram. She's the one who redid all of our digital marketing. So if you go on our YouTube channel, our banner is new. On Facebook, our banner is new on there as well. And our thumbnail on YouTube is designed by her. So please go to her Instagram. And she also has a YouTube channel. So Tykeria White. So yeah, go check her out.
Dope artist, y'all. Go check her out. And I have a
Black business as well.
Yeah, both of these are black. It's a black podcast and a black business. I too have a shout out, guys.
Are they black?
Huh?
Are they black?
They are black.
Okay, let's make sure.
My shout out is my two co-hosts. I get to do this every week with my friends, and I really enjoy it. I just want to have a shout out. I ain't have one. I felt left out, so.
KARION just had to reboot the guy. So I'm like that.
No, I was about to say something. I said, I'm not going to do this episode.
Every time he gets praised.
No, I was going to say something.
Put an on button that so I can reboot.
I didn't even reboot. I was really like, did he really just do this? I told him to shout me out, and he had to shout both of us out. He didn't want to call me out.
Oh, so he's mad because I was included in the shout out.
Nah.
Do I not deserve it, KARION?
Right. Sounds kind of sexy.
He didn't want to call our names. He said friends. Ooh. We are more than just friends.
Y'all just introduced yourselves.
So?
Anywho, how you guys doing today?
I am doing... I've been stressed this week, man.
Really? Why?
My car falling apart. I think I told y'all my trunk stopped working, and then my window stopped working for a moment. I was literally like driving down the interstate, and I had it cracked a little bit, and I tried to roll it up because it was getting cold. It wouldn't roll up, so I hit the down button to make sure it was working. The down button definitely worked, but I was driving down the interstate, my window halfway down.
And it was cold.
Was it?
Yeah.
Like 30-something degrees out that night.
Yeah, I hate car problems. Like, I hate dealing with cars.
And of course, this happens after my warranty ran out. I don't say nothing about warranties, DEVON.
I think they do that on purpose.
I think so too.
I think the government's in on it. I think companies are in on it. I think because it happens the same thing with Apple. Everyone knows what Apple products.
Conspiracy.
It is a conspiracy, but it just makes sense every time. I hate it.
Yeah, I remember they tried their hardest to get me get that on the extended warranty, and I would not do it. And now I'm looking back like,
Bet you would have listened to DEVON now, huh?
I still wouldn't listen.
Wait, do you like warranties?
I get warranties.
No, he's still the type of person who get a warranty on a chair.
No. I did in the past.
My chair wobbly. I'm taking this
right. Where did I ever see that?
How you doing, though, Raven?
I'm doing good. This week was pretty balanced. I can't really complain. I'm not gonna lie. I was nervous about this topic today, and I talked to DEVON and KARION about it. But I had to mentally prepare for it. But I was just nervous about it.
Just so y'all know, DEVON be stressing her out.
Yeah, like he be coming with the topics. I'm like, oh my god, because it's not controversial. It's just it's like one of those things you don't want to say the wrong thing because people will attack you. But I think at the end of the day, we're just gonna speak our truth and. It can just be
Raven wants all the smoke now, guys.
Spoiler alert, Raven doesn't support reparations.
All right, I'm officially canceled already.
Shut the episode down, we're done.
All right, it's just nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
How about you, DEVON? How you feeling?
I just hate politics. Anyways.
Yeah. This week has been challenging. I feel like I always kind of give that report and y'all like, are you okay? I'm good. It's just, I've been doing a lot of reflective work.
My rate is $55 per session, DEVON. We can talk this out.
You said your rate is what?
$55.
Dang.
I already told you.
That's not expensive.
They have a therapy.
$55? Oh, actually, that isn't expensive. Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
I don't pay that much.
How much you pay? You pay sliding scale.
When I was paying, it was $25.
Sorry,
You know what? You've been sexist already.
That was classist.
Yeah, that was classism. We might have to change the topic for today. How toxic KARION is.
That was a toxic
That's the new
comeback.
topic for today.
Yeah, toxic raven, she laughing.
I know.
Right?
I know. I shouldn't
She
be
enjoys
laughing.
it.
I'm weak. Okay.
I just want to say, my two co-hosts won't get this reference because they're not cultured like I am. But I am David Ruffin of the podcast, and they are the Temptations, and ain't nobody coming here to see y'all.
As many times as you said that throughout your daily life, we get the reference now.
Nope. Y'all don't know what's from. They haven't seen the Temptations movie, guys.
He is no longer credible.
Black History Month. It's the last day of Black History Month, and they have not seen the Temptations.
I have nothing to say because I probably will never watch it. Not saying that when will I ever have the chance to watch that?
All the time. They play it on one
It's
of those
probably played
channels
on
like,
Lifetime.
all the time.
She a full-time grad student. She ain't got time.
Right.
No. This Gen Z stuff. That's what it is.
Anybody that knows me from last year's podcast, I don't watch anything. So.
But anime.
Exactly. He lying.
I don't watch any movies. Everybody knows
anime
that.
movies.
Okay, you don't watch the Avengers. You like the Avengers type.
Yeah, Avengers and X-Men. Everybody individual movie, no.
He just don't like the Temptations.
All right, let's redirect DEVON because he is going off task.
I didn't grow up listening to oldies in the car, and it shows.
As DEVON, go on if I take over your job. Redirect
The topic for today, unfortunately, is not going to be how toxic Karan and Raven are. It's going to be reparations, as Raven brought up earlier. It is a controversial topic, much like last week's, but I think we kind of enjoy controversy here, and I think it's something that needs to be discussed. So, ever since Black people have been freed in America, reparations has been like an age-old debate. Right? It's like, do we give them something? Do we not give them something? If we do give them something, how much? And then all these other kind of things. So that's what we're going to explore today. I have some facts because, I like to kind of
hit them with the facts.
Let y'all know what's going on before we dive into it.
It'll be a new segment eventually. Hit them with the facts.
I'm going to have a punching
I like
bag.
that. Somebody write that down.
I'm going to have a boxing glove on. So slavery ended 1865. Right? After slavery, we had Jim Crow laws. So from slavery to 1968, we had Jim Crow laws. Jim Crow laws were oppressive laws on state and local levels that oppressed Black people. So denied them the right to vote, to get a job, denied them places to live, etc. Following all that kind of stuff, and oftentimes going on at the same time as Jim Crow, police brutality, institutional racism, mass incarceration, segregation, lynchings, KKK, bombings, destruction of whole towns, etc., etc.
Triggers.
Trigger. Trauma, as we like to bring up. So another thing I'll bring up before we dive into it. Today we're seeing, as people do more research and studies, trauma can be passed down through generations, and I want y'all to remember that as we go throughout the podcast. It's important to note that trauma literally changes the brain, and a question that I have for you too is, did newly freed Black women, men, or children receive therapy or counseling?
Nope.
You said, did they?
There were no types of interventions when it came to the transition from being a slave to being a free person.
You just here you go. Just
Right?
get out my face.
Sorry.
Like, just do your own thing now.
Yeah. And oftentimes they lived on the same land with their masters, and they just went from slavery to sharecropping, or they migrated.
Indentured servants.
Just to
and all
put
that.
it into context, like, just think about it like, you're a college student and you're transitioning to a college. I know this isn't the same thing, but just think about it. There's some students who have a tough time transitioning in general from like one place to another, that they're stressed out, they become depressed or anxious or something like. But people go to counseling in order to help with that adaptation and with going from one place to another. So imagine being like, you're seeing your family members being ripped away from you, like you being beaten and not having your own rights, and then just being thrown out until, okay, now you can find a job and find housing and all these different things, like, and there's no type of like support, no one around you like giving you that support. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like that puts it into context because people are just like, well, it's not that big of a deal. I'm like, okay, so when you went to college, how stressed out were you? Every college student was stressed out. If you're living on, especially if you're living on campus and away from home, had to be stressed.
I was at home still stressed.
Right.
Yeah, like it's just transitioning in general is stressful.
And like the transition sometimes is so, just boom, it happens.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just don't have time to prep for anything. And even if you do have time to prep, people don't know how to. So that's stressful right there. Like, okay, this day is coming, but what do we do to get ready for this day? It's had some people just thrown into the fire pit. Okay, make it. It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, even just becoming an adult and having to do your own taxes, like that's stressful. Oh my god!
I wait till the last minute every year.
Who you tell?
I still haven't done it, and I like money. That's crazy.
Well, then last year they extended it. I waited to the end of the extension.
It was the last day. It was like July 15th.
Yeah, but it's just, when you have, especially when your parents, not to call any of my family out, but when you're not really taught how to do taxes and stuff like that, like it's stressful trying to teach yourself how to do it or like read the fine line and try to understand each word. Like it's just difficult.
People tell me it's simple. I say it's even simpler to pay somebody to do it for me.
Right. Yeah.
But can you imagine like having all your rights, having no rights basically, and being considered property, and then having a war occur to basically give you those rights? So trauma, and then the trauma of war, because some black people fought, in the Civil War, some died, like just trauma on top of trauma, and then they say you're free. So it's like, what do I do now?
Right.
Where do I go? You've prevented me from acquiring land, money. Some of them had, skills like woodworking and carpentry and stuff like that, but they couldn't own like businesses unless you were free. So
there's always like an obstacle or a wall that prevented them from moving forward. Yeah.
I can't even imagine like what was going through most of their minds, and it's like, all right, you free now, no hard feelings. It's like, what? You beat me last Tuesday. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Couldn't vote, and even when they did get the right to vote, they had all these different things that prevented them from being able to.
Yeah.
There's always something.
Still always something.
Yeah. Shit. Sorry. Anyway.
That was a frustration.
It was. Like, I'm just so... It's always something.
Yeah. So there are like kind of two camps when it comes to this. Well, I would imagine three. There's a camp that doesn't care because it doesn't affect them, or they just don't think about it. There's a camp that says there shouldn't be reparations for black people, and there's a camp that says there should be reparations for black people. The first camp I wanted to explore is the camp that is against reparations.
Okay.
So
let's get it.
There are a lot of arguments made in this camp. So one of them is no one living today was a slave, and you weren't forced to endure the hardships of being a slave. It doesn't affect you. So how could you receive payment for something that didn't affect you?
I think just bringing up the fact that trauma can affect generations, like it has an effect on us today as a society and as a community, the black community.
I will say, let's talk about, okay, since I didn't go through it, so I don't need to get money from it or whatever, some type of benefit. Let me strip you of all your benefits that you have because of your ancestors or what they did to our people.
Let's all start from zero.
Yeah, let's all start from scratch. We already at scratch. Let's put you where we at and see how you like it.
Flip the script.
So are you like referring to like people who generate wealth from their family? Like,
people who has benefited throughout slavery and still continues to do so.
Okay, that's a good way to flip the switch on them.
I'm going to put y'all on the spot because y'all have more information.
You just assuming
on these things. So post PTSD. What is that about?
PTSD is, you just shake your head.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I know what it is. I'm just thinking.
You didn't want to answer.
Right.
PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder. So basically when you go to a very traumatic event, it really affects the way that you go about your daily life.
Okay.
So, for example, if you get into a car accident, every time you think about driving, you get behind the wheel, you get in the car in general, or something like that, anxiety shoots up to the roof, stress shoots up and everything like that. So now you have to try to cope and deal with that. And some people struggle to deal with that type of stress. So where you want to go with this?
Remember, Raven, you brought up during one of the podcasts, Joy DeGruy.
Post-traumatic slave disorder.
And the parallels that she draws between PTSD and post-traumatic slave disorder. Basically, it's PTSD for black people who are the descendants of people who were enslaved. And as Karan was talking about, these people had their daily lives changed by their trauma. And as we said earlier, and that's why I said it earlier, trauma changes people. It rewires your brain, like literally, it changes you.
So, it has like psychological, neurological effects.
Yeah.
Especially if it's long term.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We talk all the time about generational curses in the Black community and all the ills that we have to face. And we've talked on this podcast at length about how most of that came from slavery, the trauma we face, and terrorism that we face in America.
Yeah.
So that whole argument, you weren't a slave, you didn't go through that, we're still being affected by it.
So let's talk about like the symptoms of post-traumatic slave disorder. Like, you know, what are some things that you see within the Black community that comes from post-traumatic slave disorder?
Wealth disparities, because we weren't able to work. Most of us weren't. If you weren't a slave, able to work and acquire money. You weren't able to acquire land and resources.
Probably
Even things
education and all that.
Even in modern day, like, you know, violence or the way, however we choose to go about things, or like our family, the way our family dynamic is set up.
Yeah.
You know, just different things like that are kind of like stereotyped on us.
I know we talked about the Willie Lynch syndrome and letter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Conflict.
that, the way that was set up, it definitely like has an effect on our family today. And we talked about this in which one we talked about that in?
Probably pretty much all of them.
Yeah, like we always bring it because it has such a huge effect on the dynamics of the Black community.
Yeah.
So I would describe that as a symptom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So another argument against reparations is slavery was legal at the time.
Just because it's legal doesn't make it right.
It doesn't make it right.
And we know one could still argue, slavery is still technically, in a sense, kind of legal today. The prison systems and everything like that.
Mass incarceration.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I think out of like most of the arguments, that one may have a little bit more weight than some of them because it was legal. And I'm not saying it's right. Like you said, just because it's legal doesn't mean it's right. But if something's legal and your forefathers have done it, and this is just a way to do things, you're socialized to believe that this is right. So I can see how some people may have went into being a slave owner just because.
But it's just like, okay, so say you did something. I always make it, when I'm comparing things, it's like a minimal thing. But like if you did something bad to somebody and y'all, like a long time ago, and then y'all didn't really know it was wrong until later on, like, oh, does that mean you shouldn't apologize for it?
Nah, you should.
Yeah. Like just because no one saw the wrong in it doesn't mean that if you're able to see the effects of it later, you should be able to apologize.
I was saying, let's flip the script on them. Okay, it was legal. Okay, let's make it legal for y'all to be slaves. Is that okay?
Right, like it's not, yeah.
If
you always quick to flip the script.
Because we got to, because people don't like to see the shoe on the other foot. They can only,
Yeah.
A lot of people have tunnel vision and they only see their perspective. So you gotta, and it's a perspective shift for them.
Yeah.
Granted, people still gonna be ignorant, but you still gotta try. Let's just say, no, we wake up tomorrow and you know what? It's February 29th now. And we're flipping the script.
Is there a 29th?
No.
Okay.
But we adding it now.
Okay.
And February 29th is the start of new slavery, reverse slavery.
What?
And it's legal.
Yeah.
Does that make it right?
No, most people will be against it.
There will be so many.
But people will argue that society has changed.
This is true, but I'm just trying to like, okay, we was in this predicament once now. Let's put y'all in this predicament. Y'all okay with that?
I understand that. And I like how we we flipped the script two different ways. We gave it from perspective that could support the argument and perspective that can go against the argument. And I think that's important as well as you look at these kind of topics, is you have to be understanding of okay, it's not just, you can't just all the time be like people were evil and this is why things happen. There's usually more complex reasons for why things occur.
It's not a one shoe fits all.
Yeah. Right.
And that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was go ahead, because I was just gonna say, what's more annoying is that even if you do flip the switch and tell them to put the shoe on just to try it out, they still won't understand, and they'll still be so much on the other side, well, it was legal at the time, and won't even listen to what you're saying, and I think that's just so frustrating to me.
And they want to continue to be ignorant. Try Jesus, not
right,
me.
Right, not me.
Because you better irritate my soul.
No, for real.
Another point that people make is, how do you determine who would get the money? So every black person in America today is not a descendant of a slave, in America at least. So how do we determine who receives that money?
No, look, That's something I don't even know. Like, it's difficult because, like we said, like, you know, just because you're black doesn't mean you are a descendant of the African American, like, slavery. So,
here's a way. It's probably make some people upset. American-born African Americans.
Okay.
Give it to us.
So does that include someone who's like their parents came from Ghana and they were born in America?
See, things get complicated then.
That's what I'm saying.
But you know, I need my money.
Cause like what Raven's saying is like, what if somebody's great grandfather came directly from Nigeria?
Like, and they had nothing to, yeah.
You know what? Give it to them too. Give it to them too.
Look,
I support all my brothers and sisters.
He just want the coins.
I support all my brothers and sisters. No, give it to the young ones so they can help out their family too. Boom. How about that?
What's your take on that, Raven?
I don't know. I don't think. This is why I don't really.
This is why you're stressed out at night.
This is why I was stressed out because it's so much. There's so many factors to it that prevents us from getting somewhere to actually creating a plan for the reparations.
Yeah.
Because how would you know? Like, anyone could say, like, yeah, my great great granddad, he went through. You know, you can't really prove that.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do? Blood tests and spit tests to see if we
23andMe.
Right. It's already gonna be a lot. Say if they did give us money, it's gonna be even more money for them to do all those tests to even figure out if we are.
They got the money.
I know, but I don't know why I don't know why I be so pressed about their pockets. I don't know why I do that. Like, that's gonna be a lot of money. I'm trying to get them. Yeah, like, I don't know why I do that. It's like a natural thing for me. But yeah, what do you think? Do you think, like, what do you think about who gets it?
I think I'm with Karan on this. Karan got excited, like Karan, like for once,
right
on camera.
But I think if I had to go against the argument, if I had a debate against somebody who brought this up, I would say that someone whose grandfather who is from Benin or Ethiopia, they've still experienced their grandfather and that individual, I'm sure, have experienced some kind of institutional racism. Okay. And I think that's what the argument should be shifted when it comes to reparations. It's kind of too late to give reparations just specifically for slavery because unfortunately all those people are dead and gone and they didn't receive the money and land that they were supposed to get. Remember, they were supposed to get 40 acres and a mule. So we can't really go back in time, but we can give reparations for how black people are treated in America. Like I said, we've been terrorized since we've been here, and we continue to be terrorized. The KKK is still a thing.
Yeah.
Police brutality is still a thing. People are still getting choked and killed and shot and killed and thrown in jail for all these
petty reasons.
Sometimes petty and insignificant reasons.
So in a realistic sense, I don't know how this is going to sound, so just bear with me. So for everyone who's oppressed, should they get reparations as well?
What do you mean, everybody?
Like, there's other groups that are oppressed. Should they get reparations from... I know black people, like, we have our own struggles and it's very valid, stuff like that. So, like, if we use that same knowledge on other groups, do you think that they deserve reparations as well?
Haven't there been other communities that have received reparations?
Yeah, but
like Native Americans have.
Some,
in a way.
Yeah, some of them got a lot of land and resources and stuff like that. I think the United States needs to do better with how they treat all people that aren't considered a part of the dominant culture in society. That's how I feel. So I think they need to put more money into community development, fixing the inner cities, fixing rural areas.
Because for me, I would take that as a reparation. For me, it doesn't have to be directly to me, like it's going to be a direct deposit, but like I would love to see them pour into what's actually wrong about society and like our communities and stuff.
What's going to help the generations
and what's going to help us get out of this trauma. You know, they just ignore it and they just continue to keep doing the same thing. The justice system and like just the whole system is just kind of corrupt in that sense.
I have a question, guys.
Okay. You and your question.
So we said that if you are basically at this point, well, this is what I said. I don't know if y'all agree with it, but if you're a person of African descent, you experience some kind of oppression and trauma in America. and something should be done to fix that.
Mm-hmm.
What if you are a person that currently identifies as Caucasian or other, but you have African ancestors? Are you supposed to be given reparations?
At that point, you cancel yourself out.
I would say no, because you have the white privilege, and it's white privilege. I think that's just.
But your ancestors didn't have it.
Okay, but it's.
I think it kind of comes down to what we talked about too the other times, like what other podcast episodes about only wanting to accept the culture for when it's like convenient.
Yeah.
So at that point, I see those type of people only trying to accept it because it's convenient. Now they can gain something, opposed to their whole life. Nah.
But how do you determine that? Because what if you
got social media nowadays? Boy, I better go check their Twitter.
I'm saying, but if you're gonna be making this a federal thing, like
I will federally check all these Twitter feeds.
But how do you determine someone's heart? Because that person could respect, like, let's say they had a grandmother that was black, and since then, like, you know, the bloodlines have gotten wider or whatever. What if they respect that grandmother? They listen to her stories. You know, she's been around. They grew up with her, but they just, because they grew up in a certain area, they don't necessarily identify with black culture specifically.
I got a bit of one for you.
What's up?
It's a made up sort of real scenario.
Oh.
Justin Bieber. And he had black grandparents or whatever.
Does he?
No, I'm saying, what if? And he had that video. Does he deserve it? Does he deserve it?
no.
I don't know. We have the one black, the one drop.
But
right?
the real question is how.
grandma.
The real question is, say he did deserve it and he got it. How do you think black people would feel?
Angry.
Exactly. They would feel like they're not really going through the daily struggle of being a black person, or they've never grew up hating their hair, hating their skin. Like, they never went through that.
Yeah.
You know, they could have had vicarious trauma through their grandparents as they're explaining the stories that they've been through and stuff like that. But like, they're not they don't have that. They can really just just cut that whole side of their family off and just pretend that they're white for their own safety. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, that's the real question, is even if they were approved, it would still be an uproar because black people would be upset.
Would we though? Or would we be happy that we got something? We be like, I ain't really worried about it.
No.
The way that Twitter is.
Exactly. The way social media is, Twitter is,
what?
like, people would be upset.
That's a good point.
We'll be out there.
We'll
be out there policing who gets these reparations.
Right. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That is very typical. I can see that.
That is true. I think we should also look at like what you mark down on forms. Mm-hmm. So if you went to the doctor and you put black,
what's on your social media? Yeah.
Mr. Smith.
I was thinking maybe they can do applications, like you apply.
You know how many people would try to be black too?
Didn't they do that back when they were doing things for the Indians? No.
Yes.
They would.
What they call it, the Dawson Scrolls or something like that?
I just remember the events of they would lie and say, no, I got Indian in me or whatnot. And,
everybody think they got Indian in them.
But yeah, that was a time where.
Yeah, some people paid.
Yeah,
they didn't have any Native American blood in them, but they paid to be put on that scroll.
And I think history would try to repeat itself, and they would try to do that again.
I think so too. Called the Black Scrolls.
I ain't gonna. That sounds cool. Black Scrolls.
Right, it does sound kind of fire.
Pull it out.
Right. Yo, I don't know if it's just so many factors. I don't even think it's gonna work.
Well, reparations?
Yeah.
Oh, we still got some more to do.
Oh, God.
You gotta cut the podcast
it's
short.
Just a lot. No, I'm not trying to.
It's not working, y'all.
Oh,
it's
my
gonna work for me.
Right, Karan gonna figure out a way to get his funds.
Go to the next one, Devon.
Right, he ready to do the argument for reparations.
Karan is on point. It would divide the country, and it would change the relationship between black people and non-blacks in America.
How's it gonna change the relationship? We're gonna be all happy together, holding hands?
No.
Because that's the only way it's gonna change.
People are already upset because they say we have affirmative action and certain grants and scholarships.
See, that's what I'm saying. They're already upset. We're already divided. So what is supposed to change and make us not divided? And
I feel like
hands?
that will really, it'll cause even more division. I know that's impossible to think about, but it will make some people mad, especially poor whites.
You know what they say? You can tell the poorest white man that he's better than the richest black person, and he would definitely feel that way.
In some cases, that's what they did. Yeah. In some cases, that's what they did because they don't want us to work together. So y'all don't think
we already divided? What's a little bit more division?
I feel like that undoes the work.
What you mean?
Like we're already trying to progress onto causing unity, making unity,
equity,
and that will only just Like, because we're doing a little bit of work. It's not happening fast, but it's getting there. Mm-hmm. And if we just do that, that'll cause even more division, more friction between the two.
We just have to come together and keep our mouths shut. No, they can deposit that joint overnight and we just keep our mouths shut and not post about it.
There just needs to be a difference in morale. Like,
Black Twitter would be going crazy.
Got my 50,000 K, want me to go crazy.
There just needs to be a different mindset from the people. Like, in order for reparations to happen, like, everyone needs to be on the same page and everyone needs to understand on why we're getting the reparations. Now, does that sound possible?
Nope.
Yeah.
They do.
If people understand why we're getting the reparations,
everybody in a sense move in unison.
Because
emphasis on understand, not know, but understand.
I think if education is done the correct way, if the United States handled it better, I think that because we're kind of making it like all white people aren't going to understand. Our true allies would get it and be okay with us getting like some form of reparations.
I assume you just talking about black people.
But black people won't understand either. There's some black people out here who are like, because think about it. I will call myself out. Remember the conversation we had a long time ago about reparations, and I was like, Devon, I really don't think that I would.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I'm really gonna put myself out here like that, but I really was like, I don't really think I need it.
Yeah, I remember.
I had that same mindset for the longest, and then
double my paycheck.
Right, Devon was like, okay. I was like, the only thing I could say is that there's some things in my family where I've noticed, and he was like, well, do you think isn't that kind of how that slavery has affected you in that way? And I was like, you're so right. Like it made sense from that point on, and it'll take a lot for people to, mind you, I was like 22, so it took me like that long to realize that reparations are actually, I could see it actually happening and being needed.
I remember Devon had a conversation where a young boy we used to work with at JCPenney. I can't remember his name, but he felt like we didn't need it. Then you had to break it down to him. Like, what if your family was, taking advantage of all these years? Mm-hmm. Boy that wore glasses. I can't remember his name. Young boy.
Jay.
I think it might have been him. Not the cool one that draw.
Yeah, it was the other Jay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You had the whole conversation. You had to break it down for him.
Between them. Not the cool one. Nah,
he was cool.
Wearing glasses ain't cool.
He went to my department.
I vaguely remember that. Yeah,
because he was like on the page of, I don't think we should do it. Then you pretty much had to break it down to what if your family was in this situation. People's.
I remember that.
Yeah, see, and people was like profiting off of your family work, and now your family doesn't have to do that no more, but they left your family with nothing. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that's fair? He was like, no, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Boom.
Mm-hmm.
And that simple exchange, people understand. Some people understand that.
Yeah.
So if we can put it in a way like that, because I don't think Raven or Jay was wrong for saying, I don't think we need reparations. Mm-hmm. I think, and this isn't a slight, I think there are individuals that come from like
different backgrounds?
No, similar backgrounds where you have a position of privilege as a black person.
Yes.
So it's like I haven't firsthand, and I don't know all your experiences, but I haven't firsthand experienced all the hardships that some other black people have experienced. Right. So, my parents have good jobs. I've always lived in a nice, safe area. I've been able to have privileges that other black people don't have. Mm-hmm. What do I really need?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that was a mindset that I was going off of because I am kind of privileged in the social economic sense. But yeah, so it's hard to like take yourself out of the position and see like, from a bigger point of view.
Yeah, you got to look on the
well, it's not hard. You just have to be pulled out of it.
Yeah. You gotta be able to look at most and not just you as an individual.
Exactly.
I think we already said how we were determined to give black people stuff.
We kind of said that off camera a little bit too, about potentially giving options, opposed to just having one particular way.
Oh, we haven't got to argument 4 yet. Yeah. Say that for the argument 4. The last thing I'm gonna say, argument against is no one living today was a slave owner. So this kind of goes with the argument of nobody living today was a slave. Mm-hmm. And is it fair to penalize people that had nothing to do with slavery?
Was it fair to penalize black people just for being black?
No. But then one could argue it's like, are you then going tit for tat or eye for eye?
I need you to understand my viewpoint. I understand where they're coming from wholeheartedly, but I feel like it's hard for some people just to really, because they never lived a black experience. Yeah. They don't understand it.
Yeah.
Right. I guess I would just encourage just people just to just really talk to people in order to debunk that statement, because these statements make sense, but like if you actually just like do research and actually think about it and talk to people, like, you know, it will kind of be like, okay, I guess that's fair. Like each side is fair, but there's one that's more fair, in my opinion.
The one that gets divine money.
Right. The one that gives Quran money.
Yes, I need it.
Not you.
I mean, honestly,
double my payment, right?
We'll take away this portion. We'll split it.
Right down the middle.
I honestly don't know what I would do if they were to give me the like. I guess I'll take it.
Hold on, we got a part for that.
I don't know.
Save that thought. I want you to save that thought. Here's a point I want to make, and I think a lot of people will be able to relate to this or understand this. If you went into Walmart and you slipped and fell because they didn't have a sign, what would most people do in that situation?
Sue.
Why?
Because
was it negligence on their part? No, not doing what they're supposed to.
You feel like you were wronged, right? And because you were wronged, you now want something. You want to be compensated. That is almost as simple as it gets. The argument for reparations. We feel like we've been wrong as a people and continue to be wronged. We feel like we should be compensated in some way.
People don't think we're being wrong right now.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Yes, no, I haven't seen a wet floor sign anywhere yet for being black. I need compensation. I've been slipping since day one.
What kind of sign would it be?
So what kind of song?
What kind of sign would it be?
I don't know. But I ain't seen not one sign.
Right.
I'm like DMX out here slipping and falling.
Oh, man.
Struggling.
What are y'all arguments for reparations?
No, I think for me, when I think of it and how it will benefit us, I think of wealth disparitions.
Disparity.
Disparity. I don't know why I come about in two words, but anyways, I think it would be really beneficial. I know this is for later, but to really start young, you know, and I want to encourage people to think about, you know, for like, you know what I'm saying, like getting people to. My mind is all over the place. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah, like, come on, go ahead and take over.
Look at her. Reboot.
Right.
Why should we get reparations, Karan?
Just like most of the arguments we had earlier, you know, we're still being traumatized to this day. There's still things to this day.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's still things going on giving us that PTSD or the post-traumatic slave disorder in a sense. No, we're still experiencing all these things. Like I said, there's still terrorist groups out there, formerly known as the KKK.
Yeah.
We can continue to experience racism and everything like that. You go out there. Had a white girl I used to work with back in the day, and she told me her family was from I about to say Kmart. Shit. Her family was from West Virginia, and she said she would go out there and visit sometimes. They have like these weird, racist dolls and stuff there, and she's like, this is not right.
Yeah.
So there's still parts in this country that's racist as hell. So, and we got to think about, okay, we're going to take a road trip across this country. We can't go to that state. So we got to take a different route.
We still have to think that way, yeah.
It got to be like,
The Green Book.
What's that movie? Not a movie. The show we watched.
Atticus.
Yeah, so the show with Atticus in it. I feel like you ain't watched it.
No.
I can't think of the name.
His uncle had to basically travel and make safe routes for black people to travel.
Yeah.
I cannot think of the name of that show, but I know
Lovecraft Country.
Yeah, Lovecraft Country. There.
Like I said, it just like so we still experience a lot of negativity.
Yeah.
To this day.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's my argument. As that one man said, tell them I said, bring me my money. I need it.
I thought you said racist dogs.
Those dolls.
Wow, it's quite like.
Yeah. I guess my argument, what I was trying to say is trauma. Like, we still experience the traumas from our grandma, our granddads, and it gets passed on down to us. How our family functions. I always bring that up. Like, the way our family is functioning, it kind of creates gaps to having like a healthy, having healthy relationships and just having a healthy outlook on life in general. So just seeing in that's how I see the world, is through generations. So I think in that sense, I think we deserve reparations. And when it comes to wealth disparities, like, just really, I would love to see, like we mentioned earlier, just pouring into the community, and the way our communities are set up, like, the schools, lack of opportunities in like certain neighborhoods, and like where neighborhoods are set up and stuff like that. It just messes all of us up, and it prevents us from having a plethora of opportunities. That's my argument.
I remember watching this video on YouTube called The Myth of Meritocracy. And basically it talks about how people assume just because we're no longer enslaved or Jim Crow's not a huge thing anymore, that everything's equal and level. And we have equal opportunities most times, but we don't have equal outcome. So yes, I can apply to the same job as another person, but will I be hired? You know, that sort of thing. And they've done numerous studies that show 2 individuals, one white, one black, that have the same experience. And sometimes they even done it to where the white individual is slighted in a certain kind of way, but they'll still get the job versus the black person that may have more education, etc. So that whole pull yourself up by the bootstraps conversation and debate,
we ain't got no boots.
It don't work.
So we got to make our own boots, and then we have to make the bootstraps just to pull ourselves up.
It doesn't work.
Hopefully it don't snap.
Of course, there's like individual cases where, you know, black people have been able to reach great heights, and that's amazing. But for the most black people in America, it's challenging.
Yes.
And I think that's what we're really saying. It's like we want the United States government to acknowledge that what they've been doing to us has been wrong for all these years,
and what they're still doing is wrong. Yeah,
I feel like they know it. They just don't want to say it.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, they know it, and they don't want to say it because they want to keep that power.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, if I was comfortable like that. Well, actually, damn, I just admitted that I would
like, keep them Negroes down there.
No, but I'm saying, like, when you're just brainwashed and you're comfortable at the same time, it's easy to just continue this, like, want to keep what we got, you know.
Yeah, if you're a person with no morals and power hunger, you can
they will make a good dictator. Yeah.
I've heard that, like in Germany, the way that they treat the Holocaust and the things they did against people who are Jewish is completely different. Like, they have open education about it so that it doesn't happen again. And I think that's why we keep having issues in America, because as we talked about in past episodes, we don't have adequate education on black accomplishments and history. There's no real respect. So that's what I'm going to say about that. We deserve to be compensated for how we have been treated and continue to be treated.
Now that we got why we should get reparations, my favorite part is discussing, like, what kind should we get?
As I alluded to earlier, because I thought we was at the right part, but we wasn't. I had mentioned this to one of our staff meetings. Basically, there should be choices in a sense. Okay, you wrote it down. Potentially money, land, maybe grants and free education, tax breaks. I don't know about that one. But it should be like choices in a sense to where we feel like, in a sense that we had the power in making the decision of what we feel like will benefit us most. Opposed to saying, okay, everybody get money. And that might not, granted, money can help everybody, but everybody, I guess, necessarily don't need the money or want money. Some people might feel, okay, land is more valuable to me, so I want to take the land over the money. I feel like I can profit more with this land than I can do with the money.
Absolutely.
Assuming a lot of people are going to choose money, do y'all think that would actually be effective?
It would be like that Dave Chappelle episode when they got reparations. I just bought this truck cash free. Like, I ain't got to work no more in my life.
Yeah, he bought a baby.
Yes, I bought this baby cash.
I like the idea of giving options. I do think a lot of people would choose money. It depends on the amount of money too, though. Because if the land is worth more than the money, then you might, might be harder. But I like that idea, because then you don't feel slighted, and you can't blame anybody but yourself because you made that decision. But I think you should include grants. Well, at that point, money would override grants, but maybe free education and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that should be across the board anyways.
Yeah.
Maybe not
take away my student loans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Karan just going out for himself. He just want money. He want his loans.
I'd be happy if everybody else got theirs taken away too. Yeah. But I need mine too. I need to be roped in that group of no more loans.
Yeah. Even the playing field a little bit more.
Yeah.
How could receiving reparations hurt Black Americans?
It ain't gonna hurt me.
I just think I mean, I don't think it would hurt us. I think it wouldn't teach us anything. I feel like it wouldn't. I don't know. I just feel like it wouldn't. It would benefit, obviously, but eventually, say if they did choose money, that money's gonna run out.
Yeah.
And we're still going to be, I feel like it's just they're just throwing money at us. I would see it as that, like they're just going to throw the money at us. They're not going to give us any resources on what to do with that money, or like put things in the community that'll teach us to save money and like have those different things. So I feel like it wouldn't really benefit us.
To piggyback off that, I think not with everybody, for some, the lack of financial literacy would hurt the community a lot.
Right, and that's what I was trying to go to. Yeah.
So y'all feel like they should like be classes before you get the reparations?
Not classes, but I feel like they're like some way of education, or that's why it's just like I'm not really just for money. I feel like really going and pouring into the community, and then going from there would really help. Like just giving us money, I wouldn't say. Like, we can do classes or whatever, but are people going to show up or be interested or even take it seriously?
That's true.
So,
I feel like the classes shouldn't be mandated in a sense. Because you can't really force somebody to do what they want to do.
Like you said.
Okay, an option.
And even with the option, those who choose to stay financial illiterate don't going to do nothing but crash and burn. More than likely.
Like, it's not going to help the community. It's going to be $2,000 richer. I mean, assuming
$2,000,
I want more than that.
How much money were y'all thinking?
That's stimulus money.
That is stimulus.
That's barely stimulus.
How much were y'all thinking?
Shoot.
I was thinking about
so many estimates.
How about $500K?
There's just so many estimates about how much we should receive, and some people say it's in the trillions.
I was lowballing then.
I don't know how that gets dispersed amongst the roughly 13% of black people in the United States.
Just like they roughly disperse all that money for the military.
Right.
Give me some of that money.
I really don't know how much money would be enough. But then I also feel like they being the government would be like, now you can't complain no more because you got money. I gave you something.
And that's what I'm afraid of too. It's just like they just gonna throw the money at our face and keep doing the same thing that
they definitely gonna keep doing it.
So what I'm saying, like, does it?
Or what if they give us land, but it's like crap land?
You already know how black people are. We're gonna flip that and make it something nice.
I don't know.
But we shouldn't have to do that.
If you've been brought up in the city, you know, like that's where your family has been. Do you really have any real skills of development?
No, you don't. I don't know how to
University.
Crash and burn.
YouTube University.
Crash and burn, boy. My tent will fall down every night.
Right. I got this twig. I ain't got no stick.
It would be a real life naked and afraid. I would be both.
I'll just be wrapped up in the tent.
It's more work having land, and everyone says that. Like, having land is not easy. Just because you got land don't mean it's just gonna take care of itself.
You remember that?
We talked about this. Someone more work to do.
We talked about this a long time ago about that girl. She gave her boyfriend or husband or whatever. She bought him rental property.
Yeah.
Opposed to giving him what he really wanted.
He wanted like a watch or something.
Yeah. So people are arguing, well, this is to help build you up and do this, that, and the third. He's like, I gotta maintain all this.
Right,
like you're put money into this. This is work you're giving me. I just want an Apple Watch.
yeah. I mean, that was. Yeah.
It was sweet of her, but like I said, that's more. Now he got to keep up with it.
And then you could argue that those properties could buy you multiple watches, but again, I have to put energy into maintaining it, and I don't want to tell this.
You got to be ready for that. Yeah,
that's all I wanted. It's hard. This whole conversation is hard because. If you give people the option, I think that's the best scenario because then they get to decide if they want land. Then I would assume you're prepared or you understand what comes with owning like large amounts of land.
Don't buy me a big old weed whacker. I ain't gonna know what else to do.
When I was doing research, Devon just like, I have nothing to say to you.
Reboot.
I'm not. I wasn't expecting it.
When I was doing,
do with it?
I'm weak.
I don't know how to use a lawnmower. I just know how to use a weed whacker.
Just have a whole bunch of lawn.
I'd be out there with 40 acres on it. 40 acres with a long extension cord.
You're so annoying. Anyways, when I was doing research, someone had the idea of like doing baby bonds. So once a baby is born, they'll start off with $1,000, and based on your social economic status, you'll get money put in there until you're 18 or something.
So you get more money if you have less money?
Yeah. No, it'll be based on how much they make.
How much you have.
Yeah, so it'll still cause wealth disparities, but at least they'll have funds in order to, when they go out into the real world.
You can only access it when you turn 18?
I think that's the whole concept.
It needs to be because people I got a light bill to pay this baby bond going to the bills.
Well, I mean, that just goes back to my argument of like, I want the reparations to pour in to the community and benefit in a long term, and that is a very long term sense, like starting when they're a child and going up from there.
They might leave it to us. Well, we gave out the money. Y'all build your own community. They might do that to us.
They probably would do something petty like that.
But I think a lot of people still try to do it, the right thing.
Yeah, remember there was talking about some people with money was talking about buying towns or whatever, like vacant towns, and it was like we put all our resources together, guys. We can buy this town and build it up.
I don't know. I mean, you talking about like the black community? We pay, okay, but it's vacant, so have our own shops and okay.
Yep.
We putting up shields this time. You know, we're not getting bombed and all that again. You know, we gonna be prepared.
High tech security, boy.
Top flight security.
I'm weak. I think it all should start from a young age. Just really pour into our youth.
Yeah.
I think that's the most realistic reparations we'll get. Is going to be community development.
Yeah, because I mean, you can give older people money all day, but it's hard to really change their mindset on things. And
yes, it is.
Younger people too. You know what I mean? People gonna go out and buy cars that don't really need.
No,
cars.
I'm talking about like jits, like 5, 6. You can. I mean, their minds are still malleable. You can still teach them a lot.
You call them what?
Jits.
What is it?
Oh,
a Florida word.
That's what I assumed in my head.
It is a Florida word. It might be. Yeah. Anyways. But yeah, I feel like it would be less effective if it was given to people now.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, some people will actually do, like, they would use it towards, like, their bills and good things that actually, that are needed, and that's fine. Like, I'm not trying to police people and their money, but I think for me, not my goal is like I'm doing it, but I really want their goal to be to really, like, have a long-term effect on the community.
My last thing about this topic, even with the perfect plan, there's still going to be people who fall through that crack.
Exactly.
Regardless of what you do, you have everything perfectly lined up for them. There's going to be people who, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So, in a sense, you can't save everybody. You know, you provided the resources that they needed. Well, you provided resources for them, and unfortunately, it's up for them to do what they want to do with it.
Yeah. I'll take whatever they give me. Now, I don't say whatever, but if they're giving me money, I'll take it. They give me land, I'll take it. Community development, I'll take it.
Give me all 3.
Yeah, I would prefer all 3, but, you know.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to pick one, assuming I have to pick one, it would be community development.
If I had to pick one, it'd be probably money.
Really?
Okay, as long as Devon said that, I don't want y'all to judge me. Because I can pour into the community with that money, depending on how much they gave me.
And depending on how much it is, we can buy land.
I mean, you can have the mindset, like, if I'm able to pour into myself, I can pour into the community. So, like, if you invest into yourself, I mean, you're a black therapist, like, you're going to be pouring into the community that way, and you have to pay off your loans or whatever you got. You take care of yourself in order to do good for the, and if you think about it, you can't really do good. I mean, it's harder to do good for the community when you're struggling yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, what?
Yeah.
I feel like I am the community.
Because you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
Pour some fresh air.
It's going to be empty.
I have noted that, like, if say the only option was land, I would probably give it to my grandma or my great aunt. She was like born in the early 1900s and she's still living today, and she be talking about all the stuff that she went through. I'm like, yeah, you can have that. I'll just stay in my little apartment that I got.
Because you would have to then work it because you're younger and stronger.
So knowledgeable. You can get out there and do that.
Right, look, I have never touched a lawnmower in my life, and I'm planning on keeping it.
We could be out there with weed whackers together.
I'll buy a little.
I'm getting a ride a lawnmower. You talking
right? I can see Devon.
I grew up drinking my hand, boy. Be riding.
I grew up in a project. We had dirt for the front yard.
Yikes.
Pushing around.
Don't laugh at my struggle.
You were pushing around dirt.
Like, the soil thing.
Y'all picking at my struggle. I see them.
Just,
laughing at my.
I try not to laugh. I was like, yikes.
I'm trying to imagine you with a weed whacker hitting dirt. What did you?
I mean, if
just
I had
spread the dirt everywhere.
I'm saying if I got the land, I'll be out there with 40 acres and a 40-acre extension cord, and I'm gonna be out there chilling.
They don't make those.
You know how many extension cords you can put together?
You're
gonna shut the whole town down.
Exactly. Before they even start, Karan gonna have them shut down.
And that's the case. Y'all should know better.
Let
me do that.
They're gonna be like, no more power. This is all the power.
Right, this is why we don't give black people nothing.
Y'all should know better. Not let me do that from the jump then.
Oh, weak. Anyways.
So before we go, we got the, of course, the redirect corner for y'all. So today, who we want to put in that corner is for any individuals who feel upset when the conversation of reparations come up.
Do one of us want to go, or do all y'all want to tackle it?
I think we can all, like, how we all do it.
Okay.
I already told y'all we're going to say, shut up. I need my money. I need this comeback. And I have no serious note. Go ahead, Raven.
For individuals that become upset when the conversation of reparation is had, I feel like, and I say the same thing every week, and I should change it up, but no, this is really important, and this will allude to the next topic that we're going to have next week is introspection. Just having conversations with people other than yourself, because like I said, like I wasn't against reparations, but I was like, well, I don't see the point in having this discussion. It's not ever going to happen. It's just, it still is a radical thought in my opinion, but I mean, I'm more for it now just because I'm able to see, you know, it's more than just slavery. It's about how it affected us generation from generation. So really, yeah, and really just doing your research on like how the Black community is set up and how it lacks opportunity and like all of that, you know, can help you understand like, you know, why reparations would be beneficial for the community.
DEVON?
You need to go watch some X-Men movies because I know people like that. Just people in general like that. And if you're able to sympathize with how they're treated, then you can parallel that with how Black people are treated in America. And that should give you a better understanding of why there needs to be some kind of compensation and why those kind of offenses against our community need to stop. And that's pretty much it. Like, just like Raven said, you need to ask yourself, why am I mad at this? How does this affect me? It don't. You know, if you enjoy privilege, then you need to understand that people don't enjoy privilege, and you need to keep pushing.
Yeah.
Go see a therapist. Go see KARION.
Right, KARION. $55 an hour.
KARION, the first
$55
man.
a
session. Next client.
Give me my money. And with that being said, we're gonna leave out our little mantras or whatever. As I always say every week, happiness is a product you seek. Oh wait, no. Happiness is not a product you seek.
What's wrong with you?
I said it wrong. Happiness isn't a product you seek. It's a product of the choices you make.
It's like, what's going on?
I said it wrong.
Live your life as though each moment is a gift from your Creator.
And be grateful for the twists in the road. They teach us grace and humility. And thank you for listening to our podcast. Engage with us on our socials. Our IG is at the Redirekt Podcast, and our Facebook is the Redirekt Podcast. So like and comment and just interact with us. Like,
comment, subscribe, reviews, 5 stars only, all that good stuff. We trying to be out here. Yes. We in these podcast streets, y'all.
Yeah, read that.
All right, y'all.
Look, you moved too fast.
We're gonna say that at the same time.
All right.
Let's count down for him.
1. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Redirekt out.
Y'all could have been on the same page.
Thanks for watching, guys. As always, check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube to stream our episodes. Also, connect with us via Instagram and Facebook at the Redirekt Podcast. And be sure to share, like, subscribe, and comment. Redirekt out.